Hey folks, welcome back to another episode of Tano Talks. I'm Kev.
I'm Fletch.
And on this episode we talk about shochu that we have been enjoying lately. We have an extensive collection between the two of us, and we want to share the experience of enjoying shochu with the world, and we figure what better way to do it than on YouTube. So on this...
For better or worse, right?
Always for better.
Always for better.
So on this episode, we're going to be talking about a very special type of shochu. Some may say the granddaddy of
shochu.
Yeah, okay, yeah. The granddaddy of all shochus. The granddaddy of all, what do I call it? Like Japanese distilled spirits?
Distilled spirits.
This Japanese distilled spirits. This would probably be the first, not this
The originator, the OG.
The OG. OG shochu, also known as Awamori.
This is my love.
What's this guy fangirl hard?
This is my love. This is, like, I love shochu, but Awamori is my, it's my babe. It's my bae. It's my bae, right?
Do it like I guess we should probably talk about what Awamori is and why it's not shochu, or why it is shochu, or what
Sure.
I don't know. Help me here.
Okay, all right. Let me take it away, because when I'm at parties, when I'm at that, I will try to have Awamori. Right?
Just ask your host if he's got some Awamori.
No, I take it. And then I go into long half-an-hour diatribes all about it.
Right. We're not whiskey wankers,
No,
right?
we're not whiskey wankers. We're not whiskey wankers.
We're shochu wankers.
However, I will tell you some really, really cool history here. So, Awamori actually dates to the late 15th century. They kind of have an estimate of around 1470, and for when it was very first distilled. So we're talking about a 600-year-old liquor. Mm. Yeah, 600? Wait, yeah.
Yeah, if we do
600-year-old liquor.
Quick math.
Yeah. It's from Okinawa, which is an island chain, which is actually really, really close to Taiwan.
Yeah, it's very south of Japan, like southwest, I guess you can say, of Japan.
Subtropical kind of place. Now, the very interesting thing is that Okinawa used to be on the main trade route between Thailand and Japan. So all of the trading boats and stuff would actually go through Okinawa, right? Now, when they were trading, obviously one of the main staples that they were trading was rice.
Yeah, rice from Thailand.
Rice from Thailand. Thai rice, which is a long grain rice, jasmine rice, right?
We're all familiar with jasmine rice
Everybody's familiar with jasmine rice. Yeah. It's the long grain rice, you know. And what would happen is that they would bring the rice in through Okinawa to mainland Japan, and that is where Awamori came from. It actually came from the jasmine rice that was imported from Thailand.
From Thailand, right.
And to this day, Awamori is made from jasmine rice.
That's right.
However, unlike shochu, Awamori is actually made in a very, very special way. With shochu, you make koji, and then you add a specific percentage or ratio of another ingredient, like sweet potato, barley, whatever have you.
More rice right? Whatever, yeah.
In Awamori's case, you don't do that shit. It is 100% koji made from jasmine rice. So, in effect, what they do is they make all the koji from jasmine rice, and that's what they ferment. They don't add anything else.
Yeah.
And that's it.
So, like, in a, if we were to give, like, a typical percentages, right, of shochu, right, what percentage of shochu would be koji, generally speaking?
Generally, maybe about 30%.
30%, right? So 30% is you make a batch of koji that may be 30%, maybe less, whatever, maybe more.
Maybe less, maybe more, depending on the recipe.
And then the rest of it is the other starch.
That's right.
The imo, the mugi, or the komi.
Correct. Yeah.
But in Awamori's case, it's just 100%
100% koji. And another difference between Awamori and shochu is that there are no secondary fermentations, what we call moromis. They are the stages. Like you have first moromi, second moromi, where you add your secondary ingredient. With awamori, there's one moromi. That's it. It just ferments straight out. So they take the jasmine rice koji, they add water, they add yeast, and that's it. And I'll tell you why that is really important, because it's a very, very powerful fermentation. Because you have 100% rice koji, and all of that, all of those enzymes are saccharifying your I always sacrificing.
It sounds like sacrificing.
Sure. It's saccharification, right? Which is basically the process of enzymes breaking down starch and transforming into sugar.
Which is koji, which is what the koji process is.
You imagine all of that koji, 100%, like the whole thing, it's just koji, and it's basically just breaking itself down. At the end of an awamori fermentation, there is very, very little left over because it's all been broken down. So, made in Okinawa, where it's subtropical, so you're looking at fermentation temperatures between 25 and 30, maybe in excess of 30 degrees when they're making this. Like Okinawa, sometimes up to 35, like hot days.
So higher temperature,
hot fermentation.
Higher temperature, aggressive fermentations, more esters come out from that fermentation, less of those delicate floral aromas and more of those like earthy, hard-hitting, whatever you like, referring to the flavor wheel.
Now let's talk about the type of koji. The type of koji is black koji, which is the grandfather of all kojis. Black koji came first. Everything else is isolated off black koji. And koji was actually discovered and found and first used in Okinawa.
In Okinawa, that was how it was. Which back, and then just as a bit of history as well, Okinawa never used to be called Okinawa, right?
No.
It used to be called the Kingdom of Ryukyu, which used to be the actual seat of Japan's power before mainland Japan was
a part of it. Because it was very segmented out. But it was a kingdom unto itself. Even now they call awamori, and it's awamori is actually a GI. So we probably can't call anything that we make at our distillery awamori. Because it has what's called a GI, a geographical indicator. Which is kind of like champagne and all that. You can't call it awamori.
Yeah, we could call it shochu, because shochu itself is not a protected word. But for instance,
we'll find a word.
On the mainland in Japan, Satsuma is a very popular shochu making region. And so Satsuma shochu would be a GI. And as you say, Honkaku shochu, which is the Honkaku is like authentic shochu, I think is what it means. Like translates to authentic, which means made in Japan. We also couldn't use, but we could use shochu, that's fine. That's just like calling something a whiskey.
We could absolutely digress on this topic a lot.
Hugely.
But we're going to do a whole nother video because it's a massive topic. But suffice to say,
it's a massive rabbit hole.
Suffice to say, 100% koji, Thai jasmine rice, and black koji. Specifically.
Yeah.
And I don't know if there's too many vacuum distilled awamoris. I think there are. There's a couple, or blends, but predominantly atmospheric distilled.
Because you want to hold on to that, that earthy, aggressive flavor that you've captured in the fermentation.
Now, specifically to this one is the Yaesen 30, so which means it's 30%. Right?
Yeah, so that's typical for. Is that typical for
awamori? Awamori's like you typically can find it in 40%, 43%.
Right, so like
30%.
100 proof for those chasing those that don't want that weak ass 25%. We want.
There's a reason for that as well, because you've got 100% koji mash and it breaks down so much. The actual ABV of the mash is really high. Like the awamori mashes can get up to between 15 to 20%. Like it's high. It's like
we compare that to like whiskey, which is
it's like a soju, like a really good high soju thing. Like whiskey, you don't generally want to go over 10 or 12.
Yeah,
actually,
quite often it's more like really 8, low, like 8. Usually under 10% for most.
This goes so high.
Yeah, right.
Like it's a really, really alcoholic mash, right? Generally because of all that koji. So what else do we know about this one specifically?
We know We know that it is Yaesen. Yaesen is the distillery. It's based on Ishigaki Island, Okinawa. Ishigaki, I believe, is the main island of Okinawa. I think there's a few islands that make up the area.
Yeah.
But this is the main island. We know it's black koji. We know that it's jasmine rice. We know that it's atmospheric, and we know it's 30%. And the last thing we know is also that it is direct fire.
Apparently, direct fire distillation.
Yeah, which is a rare. You don't see it much nowadays, outside of a few traditional Scottish distilleries. Certainly, I don't think any of them really here in Australia.
No, I mean, you wouldn't be able to pass safety laws with the direct fire. It's still
That's true. Direct fire literally means fire underneath the still. So usually, most likely from gas.
But this one, I think, is like. Look, we don't know all the details of this one. Direct fire can be gas, but it can also be wood.
Could be wood,
and there's a good chance that in Okinawa there's wood distilling. We don't know. If anybody knows, we'd love to know. Let us know. It's also unaged. Now, Awamori has a thing that after 3 years, it's called kusu.
Oh, okay.
Right, and it's a special because here's the other thing with Awamori. Awamori is a white spirit that with age, because of the molecules and esters and stuff that carry over into the distillation, the flavour profile, unlike pretty much any other white spirit or alcohol, will actually change over time.
Without the addition of
anything.
Like, you know, when we're talking about aged here, we're not saying aged in barrels. We're saying just aged...
in general.
In its...
Yeah.
A container that it's living in.
Ceramics, they're mostly Awamori is aged in ceramic.
Is this a good time to just briefly talk about ceramics? Because
we'll go. I reckon we do a whole episode. I think people will really appreciate that because it's such a rabbit hole.
But safe to say that this is after it's distilled, it is the fresh alcohol is pulled into a ceramic container of whatever size that is, and it's probably left there in a ceramic container for.
I mean, it can be left there for years, but generally they will try to age it up to 3 years to get to
3 years. So 3 years,
after 3 years, it actually changes flavor profile and becomes very vanilla, very sweet, right?
Right.
A unaged Awamori is generally a bit more aggressive, more meaty, more.
So does that mean it's not been aged for 3 years, or it has been aged for 3 years?
This has not been aged for 3 years.
For 3 years,
unaged.
So this is probably like 6 months, 1 year, maybe.
Honestly, like anywhere under 3 years, but for this one, I've tried it. I would say maybe 6 months.
6 months, right? Okay, so 6 months aged, aged in ceramic. Probably ceramic, not stainless steel.
I mean, for an unaged Awamori, it could be ceramic or it could be stainless steel. I would say they might even just do stainless steel.
Okay, yeah.
Again, we don't know.
We don't know.
But one day we're going to go to the distillery and we'll find out and we'll recap this.
Because it's a really interesting rabbit hole to go down. You know, even talking about wine. You know, if you think of the Romans, they would never have put their wine in oak barrels like we do these days. They put them in amphoras.
Amphoras.
And amphoras cause oxidation because amphoras are inherently porous. Whereas nowadays we put them in oak barrels. Same thing here. It's not gone into an oak barrel. It's gone into a ceramic. It's been allowed to oxidize for maybe 6 months, which is not an awful lot of time, but enough time for it to stabilize, settle out, get rid of heavy, volatile components.
But young Awamori has a very specific kind of like heavy and like taste. And dude, I'm fucking thirsty, and we've got Awamori in front of us.
It's time to get into it. It's time to get into it. So, but first,
straight off,
Sorry, I adjust my microphone. It keeps pulling down on my t-shirt. First of all, we've been drinking a little bit tonight, and I have to clear my palate. So before we do that,
that's a good idea.
I'm just going to cleanse my palate with a can of halftime from Deeds Brewery. R.I.P. By the way.
R.I.P.
Rip and rips on Deeds. But you made a good drop, and
cheers to Deeds.
This video is in no way at all being sponsored by Deeds Brewery, but I had some left in my fridge and I thought I'd bring them along tonight.
This is just a homage to one of the many microbreweries in Australia that have gone
under in the last like 6 months. It's been crazy. So
and this one is particularly a sad event.
Yeah, it is. It is very much so. But anyway, with that aside, it's time to do a little bit of smelling and tasting of this lovely awamori.
The reason I love unaged awamori is because it's meaty. Like, it has a meatiness to it. Like, I love that. It's just so thick and, like, tropical.
Thick
right?
with it. It is. And tropical is not how I would normally describe.
Thick's not even the right word. It's dense.
I know what you mean. Yeah. If you were to hear someone talk about koji products, be it miso or soy sauce or even shochu, I would often use the word umami. Umami or mushroomy. And this is the smell I get from this thing. It's very mushroomy.
I'm already drinking it.
There's a fungus. And again, these sounds like, maybe these sounds like really shitty things to say about something, but it's not. It's
No. All of these, like, tasting examples might sound weird, but when it comes to shochu, these are actually desirable characteristics, right? It's just, oh man, this is like, we get in Australia, we actually get a very limited variety of shochu comparatively.
Yeah.
There's more and more coming in, but we
I don't
actually
know how many there are in Japan. There must be hundreds.
but we have to hunt stuff down here
yeah.
in general. Like this one, it's medium well known. It's not like the most popular awamori. That would be the Ryukyu Kingdom.
Yeah,
one.
right.
Yeah. Which is not.
Oh, we haven't done the close up yet.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh my God!
There we
Did we
go.
not do that?
No, we didn't do it this time. So that's it there. I mean, like I say, it's all kanji and katakana, and actually, I think it's just mostly kanji. I don't understand any of it, but it's a fine looking bottle. Looks like there's a picture of a mushroom there. I don't think you can see
Is
that.
it a mushroom?
It looks like a mushroom. Look at that. Is that a mushroom?
Kind of looks like it. I don't know.
Or it could be a cloud.
Could be a cloud. It's a cloud over a thing. Yeah.
Yeah. That looks like rice.
That absolutely is rice.
And then there's a crane,
Yep.
which is the bird of Japan.
I have to say, and look, we can cover this, but I love awamori bottle labels. It's different. They're different to shochu.
They are different to shochu. Yeah. This is a bit more of a muted one. We'll get to some that are
But
very
some of the
much
other ones
more
are very colourful.
very colourful. Yeah, and also it does actually have the date on here: 2017-04-25. So was that when it was bottled?
Well, that would be in the future. Oh, 2017.
No, 2017.
That would probably be when it's bottled.
Bottled. So bottled in 2017. So I don't know. I mean, it doesn't really age in the bottle necessarily, but it's a fairly old bottle.
That's debatable whether it ages in a bottle or not. It's awamori.
True. Yeah, awamori.
Actually, like,
and also
awamori can react.
As soon as you open it, you're introducing it to just like a wine. It oxidizes, but instead of this turning the vinegar, it just becomes different.
Yeah, that's a really interesting thing and something we need to cover because awamori, even if it's down at this percentage, like it still might age and react. I mean,
it's 30%, right? And I think maybe something we've glossed over as well in the last few videos is 25%. Like you might go to like a gin tasting distillery, a whiskey tasting place, and you might be asked to try something that's 40, 50, even almost 60% ABV, and you are kind of like, oh my God, that's just so much alcohol, I can't taste anything. 25%, very, very easy. This is only 30, it's only 5% more, and it's still very easy to drink.
I might do a zoom in before. I was just sitting there going like, I'm
just yapping away, and he's
yapping away, and I'm just sitting here going,
he's like he's having a moment with.
I'm having a moment, like
awamori.
because like awamori is my love, but it is just such a unique.
Unique, and it doesn't taste anything like the other two we've like the kasatori doesn't taste anything like the komi.
Tastes like the barley, doesn't taste like the emo. It's totally in its own class, which is why awamori and shochu are totally different drinks. It's the grandfather of shochu, but you cannot call an awamori shochu because it's just not. It's out of the ballpark.
You wouldn't say it's awamori shochu.
No, you would not say that. No.
You just say it's awamori. So we still have to figure out a name for what we'll call our awamori.
I'm out. And I particularly love this one because it's unaged and because it has that really robust, like,
There's a little bit of ice in there if you want.
A little bit of ice,
in
yeah.
I mean, it's mostly water, but there's still a wee bit of ice in there if you want to try that.
Yep. Obviously, so sodawari in Okinawa is a big thing. Sodawari is where you add soda water to it.
Yeah.
Because obviously, also it's often 43%.
Yeah.
This is a low one. In Australia, we don't get too many of the high ABV Awamoris. Get one or two. It's sweet. Mm-hmm. Yes, and on the flavour wheel, which we have our flavour wheel, right? On our flavour wheel, like bit of coconut, fruit, again, like, but not a passion like pineapple.
Yeah, a little bit.
With ice, I think it might open that fruit up a bit.
Oh yeah, I'll try a little bit of ice. Actually, there's a little bit of like X cubes in here, and I'll just throw.
Yeah, the ice opens up a little bit. But yes, that's one thing. It is Awamori oily, like it.
Yes,
sticks.
oily.
It sticks to the inside of your mouth.
Again, that single distillation, it just keeps a lot of those flavors, those like volatiles in there, those esters in there. What was I going to say? Oh, you were talking about sodawari. Which I think is really interesting because that was not a word. It's not a word. It's not a Japanese word. It's not a Japanese word. It's something that's come about in the last, I don't know however many decades.
It's an inventation.
It's because younger people in Japan have been going, and this is not a slant on shochu at all, but it has been seen as a bit of an old man's drink for a long time in Japan. But young people are now starting to come back to shochu. And the ways that they're coming back to shochu is they're coming back to it in sodawari. They're coming back to it in that kind of, if you've seen 196s on the shelf here in Australia, you've seen Chuhais, you've been to Japan, you have this example of a shochu with soda water. And then they flavor it. Yeah. But the what it goes back to is this sort of idea of like this is really tasty, but it's a flavor bomb. I'll water it down with soda water and I'll enjoy it in a highball with my friends.
This is a perfect cocktail mixer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Also because it naturally comes in a high ABV, usually 43%.
Yep, holds up.
It just has such a unique flavor that works really well like with citruses. I mean, here's a really interesting fact. Okay, interesting fact that Fletch knows. Coffee and Awamori is a big thing in Okinawa.
Yeah, I've heard about this.
Coffee and Awamori
I want to try that
thing.
so bad.
Yeah.
So what is it? Is it you make an espresso and then you like put a shot of that in it, or is it?
I'm not actually sure.
Yeah.
I haven't been to Okinawa.
Again, I think that would work really well.
I think that is, but coffee and Awamori is actually a big thing. There's actually a couple of brands that do the mix as well.
I've heard of it where they roast the beans with Awamori.
So
they soak the beans in Awamori and then they roast it, and it creates this again, which is a perfect combination because you've got this nutty coffee bean, and then you have this kind of mushroomy mushroomy umami flavor bomb. Really
I'll say right now, and I'll put it out there right now. We're in Melbourne, and there's coffee roasted. We are a capital city of coffee, and we are going to make something in that vein. I'm going to say it right now. I'm going to put it out there. 100%. We're going to do a coffee, something with coffee and Awamori. I haven't tried it yet because I actually don't drink a lot of coffee, but anyways, like the ice is coming through.
Yeah. Oh, I should try it now, eh?
Like it's viscous. It's like
No, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cuddle with a little bit of water.
This is a really weird thing that I've never actually contemplated with Awamori. I'm getting slight nuts now with.
You alright?
Not these nuts. No, not these nuts, but like I'm getting like a slight nutty flavour as I've added the ice. I've never really thought about that before.
Yeah.
A chestnut.
Chestnuts, yes. I'm getting
chestnut, which is weird.
I'm getting that. I'm getting, like I say, like there's that kind of the coffee bean, those flavors I look for in a coffee myself.
We need to do like a coffee review on Awamori.
I absolutely can get. If I can buy myself a bottle of Awamori, I will put that whole bottle of Awamori through a drip filter filled with coffee.
Let's do a video on that.
And then we'll
just be bouncing off the fucking walls.
That's me. Until 10 o'clock every morning.
Well, all right. I think for me, that's enough fanboying.
I reckon, yeah.
Look, like the Yaesen 30, this is actually in Australia, and what we have here, one of my favourite Awamoris. There are many different brands, which we'll probably cover, but I wanted to bring this one out as our first Awamori review because it's the closest to what I feel is... Like, you saw me, I'm just like, nah.
Yeah.
I love it. And I know that there's other ones out there like this.
Can you get this in Australia?
You can. I got this, yeah.
We'll have to find out where we can get this to show.
This is a Daiwa. So I think that this one was actually from...
So what, Sake Ginza?
Sake Online. Sake Ginza.
Sake Ginza?
Sake
The one
Ginza in Richmond?
Yeah. They're good.
Toshi.
They're very good.
So Toshi at Sake Ginza. Highly recommended if you are in Australia and you are in Melbourne and you're looking for shochu. Sake Ginza, Toshi, and yeah.
Tell him Tano sent you.
Yeah.
He won't know what you're talking about.
He won't know what you're talking about.
We'll let him know.
If you say Fletch, he'll know. Anyways, thank you very much for joining us for this rambling Awamori session.
Yeah.
I'm Fletch.
I'm Kevin.
We're Tano Spirits.
Tano Spirits.
Drink
shochu.